Okay guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at the buy menu and the weapons and equipment that you can use in the CSGO beta. First off, let's look at the buy menu, and you'll see straight away that it's completely been changed from the usual CS buy menu. Now we have this sort of radial wheel thing going on, and it's obviously aimed at the consoles. You know, if you're using like an analog stick, it's dead easy to sort of flick it upwards and then select something. I don't mind it, but I really think they need to have an option to use the classic sort of CS spying system where you have like a big list of categories. I think that makes much more sense than this on the PC anyway. First things to note as well, I think the money here needs to be a different colour and perhaps, you know, a bit more obvious to see how much you've got. Yeah, so let's look at the equipment first. You've got HE grenade, flash, smoke grenade, decoy grenade, Molotov, and a space here. Now I'll show you something here. If you look at the bottom left hand corner of the screen, you'll see that I've already got armor, and basically everyone starts with armor in CSGO. And I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that this here is going to be like for a helmet. So if you buy the helmet, then you take, you know, less headshot damage. But we'll have to wait and see about that. Pistols, all we've got is the P2000, which is a starting gun for the CTs, so no more USP. And of course we've got a Deagle in there. The terrorists only have the Glock and the Deagle. And then SMGs, or CQB as it's called now, we have the UMP45. Finally, if we go into the rifles, we've got the M4, the SSG-08 and the AWP. Of course the terrorists get the AK there instead of the M4. So yeah, I'm going to go through some of the weapons now and sort of show you how they shoot and how they feel. So I'm going to start with the CT pistol, the P2000. So first things first, there's no attack 2, so there's no silencer anymore on that. I haven't really used this weapon much, but when I've used it I find it quite ineffective. It's quite hard to get headshots with it. It's not really very accurate when you're on the run, so I don't know if they're going to improve this at all, but I really don't like it, especially when compared to the Glock, which seems to be pretty good in CSGO. It seems to be a lot more accurate than the P2000, and it's got burst mode as well. So that's pretty cool. The Deagle, you can't have a CS without Deagle. So here it is. From my time playing the game, the Deagle is very, very powerful. It's very good. Seems quite easy as well to get headshots with it, and it's quite accurate, especially when you crouch in and just tap in. So yeah, Deagle's going to be very important in the game, of course. Moving on to the UMP, which is the SMG. I've not really used this one much, but it's very sort of like noob friendly. It's really easy to WASD and spray with it. Sort of short range, it's pretty good, but when you go into like medium to long range, I found it to be pretty terrible. So yeah, that's the UMP. Next we'll be looking at the AK. So first things first, this fills up a lot of the screen. You might be able to change the field of view. I think you can actually do it at the moment with like a command, but it only works on SV cheats. So hopefully they'll add like a field of view selector in the options. But in general, the AK feels pretty nice in this game. When you're bursting, the first 2 bullets seem to go like in the same place, and then the third bullet always seems to go quite high. It's the same with the M4 as well. I'll show you in a sec. In terms of spraying, I'll just show you like a spray without trying to control the recoil. So I'm standing up and I'm just spraying here. So you can see there, like that really jumped like after 2 bullets. It just went bam bam and then up like that. So I'll show you now controlling the recoil. So that's a lot more sort of centered in the middle, but you can see it's still quite wide as well, and the AK feels like it's got a lot more recoil than the M4. in CSGO. But overall the AK is pretty good in this game, and I'd probably say it's the gun that I've used the most and been the most successful with. So now we're looking at the M4. So this is the same as the pistol. They've removed the silencer. I don't know if they're going to add that like in the future, but at the moment there's no silencer. You've just got the default M4. It's sort of the same as the AK in terms of you fire 2 bullets and then the third one always goes like quite high. You can see there. In terms of spraying, it seems pretty good. So this is me standing up, not controlling the recoil. So it doesn't go up as fast as the AK, and it sort of reminds me of like the 1.6 recoil, where it's sort of like a T shape. So that was me without controlling the recoil. So now I'll show you with controlling the recoil. So you can see it's a lot more tighter group than the AK. I think the AK was a bit wider than that. So it seems like the M4 might be better for, you know, spraying. But out of all the guns that I've used, like in CSGO, the M4 seems to be the most broken. There's been a lot of times when I'm just like tapping on someone, or they're like stood right there and they're just not dying. I don't know whether that's just, you know, the netcode or a bug, but that needs to be looked at because it seems quite underpowered compared to the AK. So moving on to the sniper rifles, we'll do this one first. This is called the SG-08, and I think this is sort of like the CSGO Scout, if you will. It seems to fire a lot quicker than the AWP does. So I've not really used it much, so I couldn't really tell you how it feels. Onto the AWP. Let me show you something here as well. When you zoom in, I'm just stood still. As soon as I start moving, the scope goes blurry. Just stand still, it's fine. Move, scope goes blurry. So I guess that's sort of like the developer's way of trying to get you to, you know, stand still when you're AWPing, so you don't get that blurriness. One thing to note as well, if you zoom in and you're running and then you hold shift, so that's my walk key, so if you hold your walk key, the blurriness goes away. So, I mean, I really don't like that blurriness. I don't really understand why it's in the game, but hopefully they'll have a command to remove it, or, you know, completely take it out of the game. It just seems a bit stupid, really. In terms of no scoping, it seems to be pretty accurate. So if I'm just stood still here, like, I'll get a bit closer here. There's just the center of the screen there. See, it's pretty accurate even when you're not quick scoping, and I'll show you what it's like when you're quick scoping with it as well. Seems pretty accurate again when you're quick scoping. In terms of landing penalty, I haven't really noticed one, so you can like jump and then like scope in like straight away. So maybe they need to look at that. And I think that is all the guns covered. So we're going to be moving on to equipment now. So in CSGO we've got the usual nades, like the HE grenade here. I really don't like the model, by the way. I think that looks far too small. It just looks like a little conker or something. But I'll show you what it looks like anyway. There's a little like explosion effect going on there. It looks pretty cool. Then we have the flashbang, and in CSGO you can only carry one flashbang at a time. So in like 1.6 and Source you can carry 2 at a time, and I like that because I think it makes the game a little bit more tactical, you know, having the 2 flashbangs. But in CSGO you've only got 1, and I'll show you the effect it has when you're sort of looking directly at it. So I had like a white screen for like 4 seconds there, If I give myself another one, so you can see what it looks like when I turn away. So I'm going to throw it on the ground now and then turn away from it. So it's sort of like half blind you, but you can still see what's going on. Smoke grenades, again you can only carry one of these. So it's sort of instantly puffs up the smoke, and it's quite solid as well. But you'll see when you stand in it, you can actually see through it, like you could in an older version of CS Source. So hopefully they'll get that fixed. But it's pretty good, like when you're sort of standing far away from it. It seems to cover quite a large area. This one here, this is one of the new grenades. This is the decoy grenade. So you use it to like fake that you're going somewhere, or put it down to make someone think that you're there. So you throw it on the ground, and then it starts playing gun sounds. So it's going to blow up in a second. And you can see it did 1 HP damage to me there as well. So there's probably going to be some hilarious decoy grenade kills. But I mean, if you're a good player and you're not going to fall for it, because the sound's always the same, and it's pretty obvious that it's there. So I don't really see that working out. And finally, you have the Molotov cocktails. So you got like a nice little physics effect there on the rag at the top, but I'll show you what it does first before I sort of lay into it. So you throw it on the ground, and it does like a blanket of fire, and if you stand in the fire, it does damage over time, and it slows you down slightly. And you can see there, it does quite a lot of damage. So that is going to be quite overpowered, I reckon. I mean, at the moment there's no limit to how many you can have on your team, so I just think it really needs like a nerf or something, maybe 2 per team, or maybe just give it to the terrorists, because when do you see counter-terrorists throwing Molotov cocktails at hostages or terrorists who've got hostages? It just doesn't really make sense to me. And as an example, say you're playing on Dust 2 when you take the A bomb site as terrorists, and there's like 5 of you alive, and you've all got Molotov cocktails. You can completely stop a CT retake and damage the players before they even see you. So it definitely needs looking into, and I don't really see a place for it in Counter-Strike. It just seems really dumb that they've put the Molotov cocktail in there. Pretty cool as like a casual thing, but as a competitive feature, then I can't see Molotov cocktails being used unless people are sort of like forced to use them because they're overpowered. So yeah, that was the that's pretty much all the weapons and equipment covered. One last thing as well, diffuse kits. You only get 2 per team now. You can't buy a diffuse kit, so I guess that's like 1 per bomb site. That needs looking at, definitely. I don't really see why everyone isn't allowed to buy a diffuse kit. It just seems a bit stupid. So hopefully they'll fix that and update that so everyone can sort of use the kits, which would be nice. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and look out for the next one, which will be coming up soon.